Hi, everybody. Some of you have been asking me why you might have missed some questions on the exponential functions assessment, which covered skills 18 and 19. So I thought I'd make a video of our answers so that you could see how these worked. Okay? So we'll go past these questions that aren't really math, and let's look here. For this first question, which is question 6 on the Google form, it says the value of a car is $15,000 and it depreciates. So that means we're talking about decay. It depreciates at a rate of 8% per year. So that's going to be R equals 0.08. What is the decay factor? Remember, 1 minus R equals the factor. So we're looking at 1 minus 0.08, which would be 0.92. So basically, the way you can think of this is if we're losing at a rate of 8%, that means that each year the price of the car is only worth 92% of the previous year, or 0.92. That's what this is interpreting as. The next one, we have an account that starts at $4,000 and it grows at a rate of 3% per year. So that means R equals 0.03. And again, it asks for the growth factor. Well, that's 1 plus R. So 1 plus 0.03, which gives us 1.03. Okay? For the next one, it says, which of the following shows an initial amount of $15? I'm going to start with just that because I can already see one that I can eliminate. So remember, general functions go y equals a times b to the x, where b is that 1 plus or minus r. In this case, it says increase, so we're talking about 1 plus r. Okay. The initial value is your A, and so this was 15, okay, which means this option is definitely not right. 1 plus R, so our increase, our R is 0.35, because 35% is 0.35, so 1 plus 0.35. Looking at that, that eliminates this answer, definitely eliminates that answer. It had to have been this one, okay? The next one, it says classify this model as growth or decay. So growth is when the b value is greater than 1, and decay is when that b value is between 0 and 1. So looking here, I see a b value of 0.85. Well, that's less than 1, so this has to be decay. For the next one, we have so we're supposed to classify this as growth or decay. They give you 5/4, but you have to be really careful because 5/4 is the same as the decimal 1.25. Since that number is greater than 1, we know that has to be growth. Okay? The next one, well, we have an exponent that is our independent variable, so this can't be linear. Okay. When I look at this, it's that same function that we had. Oh, it's almost the same function that we had in the previous problem. We have the 5/4 as our growth factor, and that's the same as 1.25 because we would just take 5 divided by 4. And because that's greater than 1, it cannot be exponential decay. It is exponential because the unknown variable is the exponent, so it's exponential growth. And this next one says James has a 70-inch giant peach. I hope you got the reference there. That doubles in size every week. So doubles in size means that the growth factor, so b is equal to 2. Okay? Write an expression that would represent how big the peach is after 5 weeks. Okay, so we're looking at y equals a times b to the x. A is our initial value, so 70. Which eliminates this answer and this answer. Our b is that growth factor. If it doubles in size, that means it's 2. Okay, so that's gonna it's gonna narrow it down to these two, but it says after 5 weeks, so 5 weeks, this one. Okay. Next one, Samantha's hair was known to grow very rapidly. It began at a length of 6 inches and grew at a rate of 14%, so R equals 0.14, and that was per week. So we're looking at y equals a times the quantity 1 plus r to the x power. A being our initial value, so that's going to be 6. 1 plus 0.14. Well, that will eliminate this answer choice. And it has to eliminate this one too, because this just says 1 plus 14. They forgot to turn the 14 into a decimal. 1 plus 14 gives us 1.14. So option 2 is our answer there. Suppose a culture of bacteria begins with 5,000 cells and dies by 30%. So dies means decay. R is 0.30. When they give you these percentages as rates, that's when you know you're going to use the 1 plus R or 1 minus R. So we're looking at y equals a times 1 minus r to the x power. A, of course, they told us was 5,000, so we can eliminate this choice. 1 minus 0.30, so 1 minus 0.30 is 0.70, which is the same as 0.7, by the way. So that makes this answer the correct answer. This one right here should have been one that you think, ooh, that looks weird. And then this one right here, that would be if it was growing by 30%. Okay. Next one, a population of fish starts at 8,000 and decreases by 6%. So we're thinking 1 minus r here, where r is 0.06. Okay. Just be careful with those single number percentages. Move your decimal 2 places over. It says, what is the population of fish after 10 years? So we're going to come up with our model first. So y equals a times the quantity 1 minus r to the t power. A in this case was that initial value of 8,000. 1 minus 0.06 to the t is 10. 1 minus 0.06 is 0.94. So I'm just going to put this in on a calculator. And the calculator gives me about 4309 when rounded. Okay. By the way, you could have thought of elimination of at least one of these answer choices. Knowing that we're decreasing this population, it can't be the first choice because that would not be a decrease. Okay? Yeah. Okay, next one. Daniel's print shop purchased a new printer for $35,000. Each year it depreciates, so that means decay. It decays at a rate of 5%, so 0.05 is R. Because they're giving us a percentage rate, we're going to do y equals a times 1 minus r to the t power. A is what we initially spent, 35,000. 1 minus 0.05 to the 8 power. So I took 1 minus 0.05 to get 0.95. Now I'm just going to put this in the calculator. And the calculator gives me like 23219.72, which would be this first choice. Again, you could use some elimination here if you knew that depreciate means decay. It couldn't have been the second choice because that would not be depreciating. That would not be decaying. On the next one, the number of mosquitoes at the beginning of the summer was 4,000, so that's our initial value. The population of mosquitoes is expected to grow at a rate of 25% per month. So we're looking at y equals a times 1 plus r to the t power. A being our initial value of 4,000. Okay. 1 plus the rate of 0.25 to the 4th power. Okay. All right. So looking at this, we're just going to simplify. And then I'm going to put this in the calculator. And we get 9765.6. That 0.6 rounds the 5 up to a 6. So first choice. So you had to be really careful. I wanted to make sure you could round correctly. Okay. And you could have eliminated the oh no, all of these were growth. Never mind. Ignore me. Okay, number 18. Suppose you deposit $3,000 in a savings account that pays interest at an annual rate of 4%. So annual rate means n equals 1. So we're using that compound interest formula. Okay, you deposit $3,000, that's your principal. Your rate, so 4%, so I'd write 0.04. The number of compounds, this is an annual thing, so that's just going to be 1. So I don't really have to put that. And then this n is also 1. And t is going to be the number of years, so 10. Simplifying the parentheses, I'm going to get 1.04, and my exponent will be 10. So I'm just going to put this in on the calculator. Calculator gives me 4440.73, which would be the second choice. Okay. All right. The next one says, which equation shows a loan of $500 with an interest rate of 3% compounded continuously? So when we talk about continuous compound interest, that's that number E. So the only option that you have with an E is this one. Okay. And so then, So then when you look at the last question, it says using the equation you chose in the last problem. So that was y equals 500 e to the 0.03 t. So I'm going to write that down. And it says, how much will the loan be valued at after 10 years? So I'm going to replace t with 10. Remember, e is a number, not a variable, so you have to use the e button on your calculator. 0.03 times 10 is 0.3. So we're going to use our calculator for this, 500. Usually the e button, you'll see an ln button, and you'll see like e to the x above it. So you'd have to hit second and then that ln button, and then you're going to type in 0.3. And you should get 674.93 when rounded, because it was like 0.929. So that 9 will round the 2 up to a 3. Okay. And just so you know, these answer choices correspond to the answers based on whichever one of these equations up here that you picked. So if you look there, let's just talk about these real quick in the few moments that I have left. This one is compounding 4 times a year. This one is doing it twice a year, so 2 compounds. And this one is doing it a daily, so 365 compounds, which means they're doing it every day. But E means they're constantly compounding. It's compounding and compounding and compounding. By the time I finish this sentence, it will have compounded a few times. Okay? But anyway, these answer choices all come from those. So when you look at these, do you see how the values really aren't that different? So obviously doing things with E gives you the best rate, unless you're talking about a loan, in which case that's not good. But just know that they're not going to be all that different. Okay, so I hope this helps.